Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. I wanted to come to you with a book video here, a book video about, these are books that meant a lot to me when I was wee little lad. I had a request from one of my subscribers, Todd, and he had asked me to do a separate video with, just books that meant a lot to me in my life. And so I thought that I would do this in possibly like a couple different installments. And I thought I would start with the books from when I was really little. I'm saying probably first grade to third grade, right in there. And these are the books that I have been able to hang on to the longest. And if you're new to the channel, I've told the story before that when I was a little kid, I was in foster care. I got taken out of the home in first grade, and it was right about Christmas time. And then for the next, all the way up until the summer before fifth grade, I was in and out of foster homes all along the way, quite a few of them in that short amount of time. And I didn't get to take a lot of stuff with me. You know, I'd get toys, and a lot of times my toys stayed at the foster home. And so I only had a couple of things that got to go with me. I had a couple of Hot Wheels that traveled with me. Those are somewhere in a box upstairs. I had some G.I. Joes eventually that started traveling with me. Around it was probably about third grade I started picking those up. But early on, other than the trash bag full of clothes when I moved from home to home, what traveled with me were my books. I was able to take, these books that I would order out of the Scholastic book order. And so a lot of these you're going to see Scholastic on them, and that would be the reason why. So I wanted to share those with you because, like I said, I had a request from Todd, and I wanted to, fulfill that request. And I'll leave a link to his video down below. He's got a nice small channel that he likes poetry and stuff like that. And so go check out his channel. But anyway, without further ado, when I was in first grade, my first love was dinosaur books. And I had quite the handful. Matter of fact, hang on a second. Let me grab my other books here. I forgot to grab those. So, here we go. All right, so my first book, and I've showed this one before, but this was a dinosaur book. It was originally a sticker book, and you'd get the stickers, and then you'd put the stickers with, you match it up with the dinosaur, and then it told you a whole bunch of stuff about them. This book and all of these dinosaur books in particular meant a lot to me, and I've told the story about, in my first foster home, there was a lot of chaos, and sometimes there was physical and verbal fighting going on and stuff. And one of the things that I always did was I'd go hide behind the couch, and I'd read my books. And these dinosaur books were my first love. And so I had this Step Into Reading book, The Dinosaur Days. I always loved the artwork in these. It always made these dinosaurs look so beautiful. I know that sounds really weird to say, but they had neat color combinations. Of course, nobody knows for sure what color they were, so this is all speculation. Here's one of my favorites. I always liked the Stegosaurus. I always liked the Triceratops, and like all kids, I liked the T-Rex. Here's a look at how big they would be. I like that because that really filled my imagination. There's a good shot of comparing all the dinosaurs and their sizes. So anyway, I really liked that book. I had this, let's see. This book here was another favorite that I got. This one, this is one that really hit on some of the, when they were trying to decide what actually killed the dinosaurs, and it gave a couple hypotheses on how that happened. Then it showed, at the end, it showed how they found, how they got buried, and then how the archaeologists would find them. Paleontologists, excuse me. But anyway, I really loved these books. I love the artwork in them. think they are wonderful. And so that was one of my favorites. We had, this one's fun. It's all poetry. I might have to share these one of these days, the poetry. So I'll give you an example here. Let's just do the T-Rex. Like on the very first page, it says, Tyrannosaurus was a beast that had no friends, to say the least. It ruled the ancient out of doors and slaughtered other dinosaurs. And so it's a lot of really fun poetry. And I'm going to share these with my 4-year-old. She's been loving reading books with me here of late. We've been reading Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. And it's the actual, it's not like a kid's version. It's the actual book, and she loves it. And so I'm having a lot of fun sharing that love of reading because I know it meant a lot to me. So I wanted to share that with her. Here is Dinosaur Time. And this one was actually my little brother's, but it ended up in my collection. So I know I read it. I don't remember a lot about it. And it looks like it has a couple missing pages in the middle. So that does not help us any. But anyway, it's got some pretty neat artwork in it as well. Here's In the Time of the Dinosaurs. This is an old one. This one goes back to, let's see. Oh, it doesn't even, that page is missing. Oh, we were rough on our books when we were little. But anyway. And then, of course, the cartoon and toy series, Dino Riders. Okay, you guys might remember those. I don't remember the book all that much. I remember that page. But I know we read it. My little brother and I read it a lot. So anyway, those were my dinosaur books. Those were the very, very first ones that I got. Another one that I picked up when I was a kid was Spooky Tricks. And I always liked this one. Thought it was kind of neat. It'd show you how to do different tricks on people. Let me find the one that's my favorite. Hang on a second. Wait for it. Oh, yep, right there. Like, here's a box with somebody's finger in it, and then it shows you how to pull off the trick on people. And so I just thought that was really neat when I was a kid. And there's all kinds of them in here. It's just really cool. You'd have to look at the entire book. It was one of my favorites from when I was a kid. I also had, this being Halloween Eve, the Happy Halloween Party book. And so this one was always kind of fun. Show you how to do different foods and stuff for a Halloween party. And I always liked that one. Thought that was kind of neat. Different games. Pin the tail on the cat there. So anyway, some other favorites that I had was Donald Duck and the Witch Next Door. That was a good one. And then Bugs Bunny's Carrot Machine. That was a good one. You'll notice most of these are taped up because, like I said, we were kids. We were rough on our books. In another video, I was on my Hot Wheels video, and I'll put that one up after this one. But I talk about my love of Ghostbusters like all the kids of the 1980s. And, of course, I had a little book. And I want to say this one came with stickers and stuff, but I am not 100% sure. But I know I read this one over and over and over again. So that was a fun one. And like all kids of the 1980s, I loved He-Man, Masters of the Universe. And this was my He-Man book that I was able to get. And I wanted to say I had another one somewhere, but this is the one that I've always been able to hang on to. And you go back and you watch these old cartoons, and it's kind of funny. They are not nearly as good as when we were kids. They don't make nearly as much sense. But I remember, looking at some of the artwork in there. It's kind of fun. I remember having these toys in my foster home. I had He-Man and Skeletor, and I don't even remember that guy's name. This guy with the hook arm here. I had him, and I had a whole bunch of these when I was a kid, and I wish I still had them. That would be good for the toy collection. Another group of books that I really loved was the Borenstain Bears. I absolutely ate them up. I'll kind of go through these fast. So I had Bad Habit, Meeting Santa Bear, and The Sitter, and Trick or Treat. This was a favorite. There's a Halloween one. Trouble with Friends. And then Too Much Vacation. And I think I had more of them, but I know I read more of them for sure. But these are the ones that I could find when I was going upstairs looking for those books. But I always loved these because they were fun, and there was always a like a moral lesson at the end that, you know, a kid reading this could take something out of the story and apply it to their own lives. And I always liked that about the Borenstain Bears. Here's a book that I had probably second or third grade. This is not the actual copy. I had a paperback version of it, but I found this at a like a auction or something. It was in a box of books. Maybe it was at the Goodwill or something. But I saw that and I was like, oh, I remember that book. I read that one, you know, a few times. But Freckle Juice, that was a lot of fun. Judy Blume. One of the books that I absolutely loved that I have now shared with my 4-year-old, and she has asked me to read it over and over and over again, is the Hans Christian Andersen's The Ugly Duckling. And these are a couple of really old copies. They're falling apart. Had to tape them up, but those are now one of my 4-year-old's favorite stories. And I don't know if it's just because it was mine as a kid or if she really likes the book, but yeah, they were definitely favorites. And you'll notice on the cover of all these, B, and then on the other one, I had one of the other ones, there was a J. That was for Jason, for my little brother. And I can't find it. But everywhere we went, we always had to, because we'd have different foster kids in our houses, and we'd always have to label our books, or even our socks. We'd have to put on the toe of our socks in permanent marker a B or a J, and then just on all of our stuff. And I know when kids saw that, they always kind of like, why'd you mark your stuff? And I never tried to explain it because it was just a little too awkward to try to explain, well, I jumped from home to home, and this is a way of, you know, keeping track of my stuff. Anyway, so you guys know that I love history. That's my main love right now. I love nonfiction stuff. And that love actually started in, you know, probably second, third grade. And I'm going to show you a few of the books that I had from that time period that I really loved. And this is Will You Sign Here, John Hancock by Gene Fritz. Of course, Gene Fritz wrote a whole bunch of stuff with, you know, history style books. And I even bought some, there's the back cover. I even bought some of these for my classroom at school. I got one on Benedict Arnold because they got some thicker ones. They're not all real thin like this. But she does an excellent job with writing for young people. Here is Runaway Slave, the story of Harriet Tubman by Anne McGovern. And that's kind of a neat book. These long, they're illustrated, quick biographies. Or maybe not quick in second or third grade, but quick now. And then the If You Lived With series, or If You Grew Up With, I've got those also, but this is the Sioux Indians. Okay, so you got all kinds of stuff about the Native Americans. And then, of course, you guys wonder why I like Abe Lincoln and George Washington so much. Well, it started at an early age. If you grew up with Abraham Lincoln, and then, not to be outdone, if you grew up with George Washington. And so those loves, maybe that's where it started. I don't know. But, you know, I got those from when I was younger. And here are the last 3, and this is moving up into like towards third grade. And this is a book that I read with my 4-year-old. She didn't like it as much, but I loved it. I read it over and over and over and over again. And it's a little bit along the same lines as The Ugly Duckling, or a little bit of the same message that, you know, everyone's beautiful in their own way. And it's The Top of the Pizzas. And it's about this troll. Isn't he a troll? No, he's an ogre. Excuse me. It's about this ogre who is a wonderful chef, but nobody knows who makes his food. He's back in the kitchen, and everybody loves his food, and everybody shows up. until the time that one of the rich ladies wanted to go thank the ogre for his wonderful food. And then, of course, this happens. It surprises him, scares him, and of course scares her. And then everybody left the restaurant, and the restaurant went broke, and he had to move to the city. Anyway, long story short, he ends up, is it the Empire State Building? Is it supposed to be? I think it's maybe not the Empire State Building, but it's a building like the Empire State Building. This building owner is trying to make money touring the top of the building, and he ends up turning it into a restaurant once he figures out how good the pizza is. And of course it gets into the news, and then everybody wants to go visit his pizza joint. And so anyway, I absolutely love this book. It's one of my all-time favorites. If you can find it, I don't know if you'd be able to find it, but if you can find it, it is very worth getting. I really like that book. And then as I got into, I want to say it was third grade. I've even got the teacher's name where I took these books. I was not perfect, people. One of my all-time favorites was The Boxcar Children by Gertrude Chandler Warner. This is the first in the series, and the series has like 140 books or something like that. They have a ton of them, and it's about these brothers and sisters who they run away, and they live in a boxcar, and then they solve mysteries. And I loved these. I read this one, I don't know how many times, read it over and over and over again. And yeah, I'm about ready to share this with my 4-year-old. I'm almost ready to. And then let's get back into the history, geography, or maybe we should just say nonfiction series. This was a book that was out of that same teacher's classroom, The Big Blast, Mount St. Helens. And yeah, it's got black and white. Of course, all the pages are yellowed now, but it's got black and white photos of when the volcano went off, and I loved this. I read it over and over again, and I actually use it in my classroom now. I just got done using it. Matter of fact, the girl that used it, the cover had a little bit of a mishap. I'm going to have to get some tape out because I love this book. I might even put this back in my collection and not take it to school because I have sentimental value with this book. But anyway, Mrs. Jameson, if you're out there, Mrs. Thompson, if you're out there, I mean, the list goes on and on. I know I took books out of your room, and I apologize. I really hope you don't hold it against me, but please know that they are well loved and that they went to a good cause, I guess. And as a teacher myself, I know that happens with kids. And I try not to get too mad at them when a book disappears from my classroom, because I know that all over the world, there are little boys that are in the same situation I was. And that love of reading is going to save their lives in one way or another. And so, Todd, thank you for requesting this video. Those are some of the books early on from like first grade to third grade that really meant a lot to me. Yeah, so BookTube, I hope maybe I gave you some ideas for some books, and hope you enjoyed this. Hope you stuck with me. Hope everyone's having a great week. It's been a wonderful weekend. We've had a 3-day weekend, so I've absolutely loved every bit of it. But anyway, hope everyone's doing great, and until next time, happy reading.